So this is a video that I didn't want to have to make. However, with the recent news of Milo Yiannopoulos, Sargon of Akkad, and James Alsop getting taken off of Patreon, I felt that it was time to act. Obviously, prior to them, Alex Jones and InfoWars were removed. Lauren Southern was removed. They weren't just removed from Patreon. They were also, some of these people were removed from PayPal as well. And even before them, Tommy Sotomayor was targeted previously. So there's a lot of people who've been deplatformed by YouTube, by Facebook, by Twitter, by Patreon, by PayPal, by Visa, by MasterCard, by a lot of these payment processors. And it turns out that the main reason for it is because they've gotten pressure from an organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center. So with that in mind, I really wanted to talk about a couple things, but I think that really, whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right, this affects everybody who's a content creator, an alternative media outlet, anybody who wants to independently report the news or provide political commentary on issues that they either support or disagree with. These people are affecting our livelihoods, and it's a problem. I mean, they're destroying lives, and as you're going to see later in this video, that's their goal. In the process of making this video, I was thinking about it, and this quote came up. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Now, whether you agree with the author or whether you disagree with the author, we are all having this problem. We have an issue with these people targeting us, and they're targeting individual groups first. So the problem that I see is this: if we don't all put aside our differences and hold these people accountable, none of us are going to have a platform. And that's the reality. So with that said, let me kind of get started. All right. So in September 2017, Politico wrote the article, FBI Homeland Security Warns of More Antifa Attacks. And I'm only going to read the highlighted portion. The links to all this stuff will be in the description of this video. Federal authorities have been warning state and local officials since early 2016 that leftist extremists known as Antifa had become increasingly confrontational and dangerous, so much so that the Department of Homeland Security formally classified their activities as domestic terrorist violence, according to interviews and confidential law enforcement documents obtained by Politico. Now, why is this important? Obviously, Antifa is old news. Every YouTuber and their brother has covered this. Why am I talking about this now? Well, it turns out in the course of researching a video, specifically this video called Overthrowing Democracy by Any Means Necessary, I found out that BAM, the Antifa group BAM by Any Means Necessary, was actually working with illegal immigrants to rush the border, and they had been working with them all the way from Honduras. In the process of researching that video, I found some really startling information. Now that video it's an hour and 8 minutes long. It's a very long video. It goes into a lot of detail. I suggest you check it out. YouTube did demonetize that video, probably because Southern Poverty Law Center was involved. I think that Southern Poverty Law Center, for the reasons contained in that video and for the reasons I'm about to discuss, has a conflict of interest and should not be a trusted flagger for YouTube. They should not be working with Discord. They should not be working with Facebook or any other organization in the United States. And I'm about to tell you why. Now, with that said, let's talk about that. In the video, buried in the video, I talk about the United for Equality and Affirmative Action Legal Defense Fund. Now, as you can see, this is on the lower left-hand side of your screen. This group is an affiliate of BAM, which is an Antifa organization. These people are designated as terrorists by the United States Department of Homeland Security. Okay. PayPal is facilitating their payments. Okay. They're considered a charity. This terrorist organization is considered a charity. Remember that. Now, as we scroll down and we look at this, and I talked about this in the other video, look at that third yellow tag down, or I should say fourth yellow tag down after the contributors section, Southern Poverty Law Center. Southern Poverty Law Center has been funding BAM. Is it any wonder why Southern Poverty Law Center has been designated anyone who speaks out against terrorism as a hate group? Is anybody have any question in their mind anymore what the Southern Poverty Law Center stands for? Okay, they are funding terrorists. They are a major contributor to the UEAA LDF, or otherwise known as United for Equality and Affirmative Action Legal Defense Fund. They are an affiliate of BAM. It's right there in purple and white. Right there on the left-hand side, Southern Poverty Law Center, okay? In addition to some of these other organizations. The links of this will be in the description of this video. And again, for anybody watching this video, download it, mirror it, share it. It will be on BitChute. It will be on Brighteon as well in case YouTube takes this down. And it's an extremely important video. Make sure that you do those things because it's important. But the thing that you need to understand here, the takeaway so far is this. U.S. Department of Homeland Security designated Antifa as terrorists. Southern Poverty Law Center is funding terrorists. Okay? And the UEAA shows how BAM gets funded. It shows that PayPal facilitates payments to them. It shows that Southern Poverty Law Center supports them. But more importantly, obviously, Sargon was not taken off of PayPal. At least I don't think he was. I know that there's some rumor he is at the time of making this video. I don't know, but he was taken off of Patreon. So here's a question I have. Why is Sargon of Akkad removed from Patreon, yet the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund is still on Patreon? This is Antifa, by the way. Okay, this is their defense fund. This is Antifa. Now let's talk about this. As we scroll down here, I kind of bouncing around. Again, this is kind of a one-off video. In other words, this is one of my one-take videos where I'm just, you get it. And this is no matter what. All right. You see right here, this is from June 4th, 2018. It says our 2017-2018 annual report is now available. During those 12 months, we provided more than $21,000 in material support to 242 anti-fascists and anti-racists in 9 different countries. Read all the details and highlights of our accomplishments over the last year right here. So I clicked on that because why not? I'm a clicky person. And bam, this is what I found. The International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund. 2017-2018 annual report. Okay, so let's scroll down. Let's see what they say. They donated, again, over $21,000, just like they said before, 220 separate Antifa groups in the United States, 4 in Canada, 3 in Germany, 2 in France, 2 in the United Kingdom, 1 in Austria, Finland, Poland, and Rojava. I have no clue where Rojava is, but whatever. Geography for the lose. But anyway, here's the thing, how you know they're real. Because I was like, well, is this really an Antifa group? Or are these people just like, trying to be posers or whatever? Or maybe they're like a PO group or something like that. Then I scroll down and I find this. The crack legal defense team that anti-fascist Yvette Falarka was able to hire partly thanks to our support. These people paid for Yvette Falarka's attorneys. And if you don't remember who Yvette Falarka was, Sargon did videos about her. InfoWars talked about her. Yeah, she was part of the group that went after Milo Yiannopoulos when he tried to speak at Berkeley. I mean, this woman is evil. She is a terrorist. She is a horrible individual. She works for BAM. She's one of their leadership. I think she's like their number 2 leader in BAM. Again, the anti-fascist terrorist organization by any means necessary. That group also tried to help rush the border. They were responsible for the border rush that happened just after Thanksgiving. Okay, that's who we're talking about. Now, how do you support the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund? Well, if you look on the left side here in red now, you'll see it says donate and support. Well, I clicked on that. This is the page I came up with. So you can make a one-time or monthly recurring donation by clicking the first link, which takes you to a blog, or you can click the second link, which takes you back to their Patreon page, which I just showed you, or you can take and make a one-time donation on their third link, which is their crowdfunding source, which we're going to show. So I'm not going to show you the Patreon again. We saw it. I'm just going to show you the rest. Now, Here's the fundraiser page. This is the third one. This is the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund. Okay. They've gotten $35,000 so far. This organization's located out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They've had 62 contributors. They're raising a fair amount of money here. Okay. And there it is. Now, you click the second link. This is their WordPress blog, the anti-fascist WordPress blog, and you click the very bottom here that's highlighted. I just highlighted. You can't see my mouse because that's the way my OBS is set up. And bam, you go to PayPal. And you go to the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund, and you can donate via PayPal. Let's talk about the Southern Poverty Law Center. Okay? Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center has what's called a hate map. And according to Liberty Counsel on June 15, 2017, they wrote the article DC Shooter, a fan of the Southern Poverty Law Center. The DC Shooter was a Facebook fan of the Southern Poverty Law Center, a reckless organization that falsely labels people and organizations as haters or hate groups. The Southern Poverty Law Center has now admitted James Hodgkinson liked the SPLC on Facebook. The SPLC continues to ignore warnings about its dangerous and false labeling, even though 2 separate mass murder attempts have been perpetrated by followers of the SPLC. Yesterday was the most recent attempted mass murder by someone who followed the SPLC. The first mass murder attempt was in 2012 when Floyd Corkins confessed he was motivated by the SPLC hate map. Now, let's scroll down a little bit. We're not going to read everything. Here's the takeaway. The SPLC's caustic and false rhetoric is dangerous because it creates a hate map listing, so-called hate groups. Mark Patak with the SPLC admitted in an interview, our criteria for a hate group, first of all, have nothing to do with criminality or violence or any kind of guess we're making about this group could be dangerous. It's strictly ideological. Mark Patak is on video in a public meeting stating, sometimes the press will describe us as monitoring hate crimes and so on. I want to say plainly that our aim in life is to destroy these groups, to completely destroy them. So I have some concerns. The Southern Poverty Law Center admits that its hate group designation is not fact-based. It's not based on actual hate. It's based on ideological disagreement alone. The Southern Poverty Law Center admits its goal is to destroy anyone they disagree with. Now, don't forget, they're a big contributor to the Antifa terrorist organization, BAM, by any means necessary. So with that in mind, I have the following questions. First, why is PayPal and Patreon allowed to facilitate terrorist support on their platforms? They both facilitate donations to BAM, to Antifa, who are known terrorists. Why is YouTube, Patreon, PayPal, Facebook, Discord, Visa, MasterCard, and others working with a known terrorist financier like the Southern Poverty Law Center? Why are groups that fund terrorist organizations allowed to operate in the United States? I mean, didn't the United States declare a war on terror? Is it any surprise the Southern Poverty Law Center tries to destroy anyone who speaks out against Antifa or the other leftist terror groups that it works with? If you or someone you know has been targeted by these terrorist financiers, please let them know about the facts contained in this video so that they can contact the appropriate government authorities and conservative politicians to hold the Southern Poverty Law Center accountable. This would include, but is not limited to, Paul Joseph Watson, Alex Jones, InfoWars, Sargon of Akkad, Lawrence Southern, James Alsop, Milo Yiannopoulos, and anyone else. Also, anyone and everyone has permission to download and mirror this video on their platforms so that everyone can be warned that the Southern Poverty Law Center is financing terrorists and targeting anyone who disagrees with them. If you're one of the organizations mentioned in this video that works with the Southern Poverty Law Center, I'm requesting that you make a public statement explaining why you are working with a known terrorist promoter and financier like the Southern Poverty Law Center. And for everybody else, something to think about. Whether you're on the right or you're on the left, if you disagree with the Southern Poverty Law Center's terrorist ideology, eventually they're going to come for you too. I'm DDJ, and this has been your dose of misandry today.